you guys, and now it's my pleasure to welcome Live Diaz.
It's cold.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Oh yeah, man.
I like to just start at the beginning, start simple. If you could talk about what compelled you to make this movie about Magellan.
Well, it's so fixated. The Filipino culture is so fixated with this man. He was the first European to set foot in archipelago, and he changed everything.
How did you begin the process of research? Because I've heard you speak about this before, and also, of course, Gail Garcia Bernal, he talks a lot about the research he did. So what was that process like with you sort of on your own researching and then collaborating with him to develop the character?
Well, as far as being with us, when you grow up in the country, it's being thought that on March 16, 1921, Magellan discovered the Philippines. It's all, everything's there. There are songs, there are poems, children's books, comics books. So you hear, in oral history, it's all Magellan. So yeah, I did research on this material for 7 years before the shoot, just to have a better hold on the story, other than just following the orthodoxy, the narrative imposed by, Europeans or Western publics, and so yeah, this is the film.
We were talking just a little while ago about shooting on the boats. You talk a little bit about that, because I think that the dedication to a kind of realism, historical realism, is really fascinating. So you can talk about how you achieved that.
We shot on the real Victoria, the boat that survived. It was still in Cadiz, Spain, and we were shooting there around October, November. It was very cold. The wind, the sea. And we were there for like weeks. It was a very expensive shoot as well. Yeah. These boats are like, they were built like rocket ships, man. They're so strong. Engineering, how they built these things before was like, just like 500 years ago, and they're very strong. Yeah, they're so good.
What was the process like of directing those scenes? Like, to what extent were you saying, I need this boat to go here, I need this boat to go here? I mean, you were kind of in control of a fleet, it seemed like. I mean, is that fair to say?
Yeah, if you're the director, then they follow you. So yeah.
Because on this film, you're not just the director, you're also the writer, the editor, you were a cinematographer, you're the production designer of it. So, for lack of a better word, you exerted a lot of, you must have exerted a lot of control over the picture, but what's interesting to me is sort of, how do you reconcile, especially shooting on location, how do you reconcile control with spontaneity? When things kind of go out of your control. Can you share a little bit about that?
It's all about, with my methodology, with my praxis, it's more about relationships, Before I shoot in a certain location, I need to understand and have a kind of rapport, relationship with the location. I do that, a lot of work, to finding the places where to shoot, and then understand the places, and then mapping out where I imagine where the people will move. And it's the same with the crew, with the actors. I needed to connect with them, so it's all about relationship. Even with the camera, I use a very small camera. I had this great relationship with the GH series of Panasonic through the years, and I understand this camera so well. So it's all about connection. It's relationship.
So, as far as this film, I guess you could say, you've worked in a number of different genres over the years. This film could be called like kind of a biopic or an historical film or period piece? To what extent were you thinking about genre or how it would be perceived sort of generically? To what extent did you think about that?
What's the question?
In other words, like, were you making a
I want to call it colonial pornography.
right.
Yeah, what's the question again? I'm sorry.
It's okay. Basically, to what extent were you thinking about this idea of an historical film and sort of subverting it or examining it? To what extent did you think about that?
I'm not subverting it. It's more about knowledge. The 7 years that I did research on this material, I discovered so many things that contrasted or, that subverted, using the word, what has been, implanted in our minds, like the orthodoxy of the narrative via Pigafetta. We always follow that book, the narrative of Pigafetta. But if you go to the archives, the libraries, the testaments, the confessions, all the notes, it was all there. And you see a lot of things different from the narrative that we've been taught. So there's a lot of that. It's important that I will have that kind of knowledge before I hit the shoot. It took me 7 years to do that. I prepared so well. I work hard on it.
How has the movie been received in the Philippines?
It's okay. It's a mix. People like it. Some people want to kill me. I'm revising history. And I challenge them. Talk to me, and we talk about what I realized, what I saw, the 7 years that I researched on the material. So it's like, it's important that we go back, I told them. I was telling people every time they challenge the things that I put in the film, I said, you should go back and then we talk. Research on your own, because I did my homework on it.
Can you provide just some more context around revising history and sort of the reason why you made some of those choices? Like, for example, the narrative around Lapu-Lapu and those kinds of changes that you made.
Yeah, we just accepted that Lapu-Lapu killed Magellan. It's a very popular story in the country. It's in our heads, it's in our psyche. This village chieftain killed Lapu-Lapu. But even if you go to the very popular narrative, the Pigafetta, nobody saw Lapu-Lapu. It was just Chief Humabon who talked about Lapu-Lapu. That there's a guy in that small island who didn't want conversion. So, what are you going to do? So Magellan said, I'll have to kill him. There's a decree that anybody who don't want conversion then is going to die. So it was a trap. And I can prove that by numbers, even through Pigafetta alone. Pigafetta said that they went to the battle at dawn, 60 of them went to the shore, 60 Europeans. Pigafetta was involved, he said. And they were met by 2,000 Malays, 2,000 warriors. 2,000 against 60, is that a battle? 33 to 1 if you divide it. It's a massacre. Even the best military strategists will tell you it won't. It's not gonna sum up. And you move forward 50 years, 1571, when Miguel Lopez de Legazpi finally declared that the Philippines is a colony. He introduced the encomienda system. The encomienda system is the first recorded, just like a census, recorded thing in the archipelago, and people were assigned 500. Half of them were Spanish, half Mexicans. They were assigned as encomienderos to different islands. And the one that was assigned to Mactan Island went back to Manila to Legazpi and said, "Sir, the island is uninhabitable, and I found only 150 people. That's on record. So you go back 50 years, 1521, where did the 2,000 men came from? It was a trap. It was a fucking trap. If you're a good investigator, you do genetic genealogy or forensic investigation, it won't add up.
Another striking moment in the film is the opening shot where there's this kind of almost fourth wall breaking moment. Can you talk a little bit about how you approached that or conceived that?
Well, it was the very first image that I wanted to while conceiving the film. The indigenous meeting the first white man in the Malayan archipelago. So it is that kind of connection that I wanted to. It's an immediate thing, you know, because you go back to the indigenous perspective where they always say that one day the Messiah will come, which is the white man who will emancipate us. So that sort of thing. It is, you know, an homage also to the perspective. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'd love to open it up to the audience if anybody has a question. Yes, go ahead.
Yes. I thought there were such beautiful ways of capturing like nature, like with the wind, the mist. Was that something that you tried to anticipate and like prepare for, or did you kind of just let that happen? Like, were you just looking for that on set, or something that you were preparing for, trying your best to?
What is the question?
So during the film, there are lots of, I guess, weather phenomena like mist and fog.
It just happened and during the shoot. Because we were just there, you know, nature is just there. We didn't even use light, 80% there's no light. We're just using a small camera, so we're just shooting. It's kind of lazy filmmaking as well. Because we were shooting for 6 months, just hanging out in the ship, you know, hanging out in the shores, you know, waiting for the race to stop. It's always raining. So we started shooting around middle of the year until January of the following year. Things are happening as well.
Okay, you in the hat.
Well, I want to say thank you for making this movie and telling it the way you did. There's a lot of like slow, thoughtful moments with our characters, and I think it does a great job representing how slow and methodical a process like colonization really is. So my question is, at what point during the planning and research did it become important to tell the story in that way?
Well, it's always right from the beginning. I want to balance things right from the very beginning. 8 years ago, the idea was when Albert Sierra and Joaquim Sapino approached me to do the material. I said, give me time to research. Yeah, right from the very beginning, I want to balance things. I want to have our own, you know, perspective, the Malay perspective on the matter. Because all the films that's been made about Magellan is always the perspective of the European. There's not a voice from the Malay people. So I want to balance that in the film, right from the very beginning.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, just one more question. Thank you.
How did you develop the character of Enrique, and how much is it based on historical facts, and how much is it like your own interpretation of it?
Everything Enrique is written by Pigafetta. It's all there. I didn't change anything. It's all there. And if you do research in the Civil Archive, it's all there. It's all written. So many accounts about him by the survivors and Pigafetta. You can just follow him. It's all there. It's like dramatizing what's been written, what's been, you know, all the confessions are there about Pigafetta, about this, about this slave.
Actually,
I think he's the first to circumnavigate the globe, actually. Not Sebastian del Cano, not Ferdinand Magellan.
sorry, I think actually we do have time for one more. All the way in the back.
We can talk forever until morning.
When watching this, I was thinking about También la lluvia, which Bernal is also in.
Was that?
And I was thinking about, or have a question about, what are the limitations of having a film centered on a colonizer but also what are the possibilities of having the story told by the oppressed?
The limitations, there's a limitation. I was free to do things, so of course the budget is not enough. We work on a small budget, very small budget, little money thing, little fundings. Of course, it's always been my dream to work on this so that we can have our own voice on the matter. It's as simple as that.
Thank you so much, everybody, for being here.
One
Thank
more
you.
question if you want. One more question.
Oh, wait, no worries. In the middle.
Hi, thank you so much for being here. And throughout the movie, I noticed that there was no music throughout the movie, and then we hear a lot of like nature sound and stuff. And I'm just wondering, what's the intention behind that decision to leave all the nature sound to the audience instead of adding in more like, like other music and stuff?
For people who are familiar with my works, I never use soundtrack. It's always the angelic sound. I always do natural sound. I did, of course, 4 films doing soundtrack during the early days, but after that I stopped doing it. Yes, it's always that. It's my language. I don't use soundtrack.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.